Next, on this special edition of Currents News, stories of faith and inspiration.
Bien, gracias, gracias mucho.
A mom and daughter team up to run their church's food pantry to make sure those in need have plenty to go around. And
sometimes I feel a kind of numbness, but still I can make the rosaries.
how the work of one Queens woman is helping others to pray and strengthen their faith every single day. Also,
she said, "Daddy, you're fat. I don't want you to die." That was it. That was the moment that changed my life.
how a dad's young daughter helped to turn his life around so he could be around for her for many years to come. Plus, the woman who decided to thank the NYPD with one thank you card at a time. This Currents News Good News special starts right now. I'm Christine Persichetti. It's been a tough few months with us having to report a lot of bad news, whether it be the war in Ukraine, mass shootings across the U.S., or the worst inflation in decades. But in between all of the sad news, there's always some good news, stories of Catholics who are really living their faith. And that's what we're going to focus on for the next half hour. We start with a parish in the Diocese of Brooklyn that's listed on the National Register of Historic Places. St. Matthias Church in Ridgewood was completed in 1926. But you might be surprised to learn much of the Italian Renaissance revival style adornments didn't come from Italy, but from Germany. The pastor there, Auxiliary Bishop Neil Tiedemann, tells us about the parish's unique story.
St. Matthias Parish is a very interesting parish. It has a long history. Originally, most of the members were of German descent. Mass was celebrated in German. At the present time, we have a large Polish-speaking population. We also have a large Spanish-speaking population. We come from at least 14 different countries in Latin America. And then we have a sizable amount of people who have been parishioners their whole lives.
Two of those parishioners are a mother and daughter team who are truly putting their faith into action. We caught up with them at the church food pantry where they make sure no one in their community goes hungry. One after another, they come to the food pantry at St. Matthias in Ridgewood, not only to feed their families, but also to nourish their souls through a sense of community. This mother-daughter team, Maritza Chamorro and Lillian Gualpa, runs the food pantry, making sure anyone in need is helped. It's an act of kindness, Maritza says, that is much bigger than herself.
Y es la forma en cómo nosotros podemos reproducir ese amor. She does it because she knows the needs of the people, and as God has showed us in his works, helping the ones in need really is a great expression of love.
Maritza and Lillian know what it's like to be in need. Maritza lost her job during the pandemic.
Bills keep on coming, a lot of tuition bills, all of those things, and without any sort of income, it's very overwhelming and it's very worrying for us.
They say organizing this pantry distracts them from their own problems. And every interaction with a community member makes them feel even more grateful to God.
Gracias mucho.
Que estoy compartiendo. She feels very grateful that she can witness that, how the Catholic Church is always there to help out in this time of great crisis and in need.
St. Matthias has been helping the community for years, way before the pandemic struck.
There's a lot of canned goods, but there's a lot, you see the chickens down there?
Church pastor, Auxiliary Bishop Neil Tiedemann says the food pantry has a working kitchen and used to serve lunch to the homeless, but COVID forced them to shut down the operation and cook up a new plan.
So we actually set up a team where we try to figure out what is it that people really need.
Everything from canned goods and cereal to fresh vegetables and meat.
We try to do it so that everything is all laid out and prepared so that people can come. There's really no lines.
Rosa, a longtime parishioner, was unemployed during the height of COVID and struggled to feed her family.
Oh no, esto es muy bueno.
To be able to have some sort of support, have something to provide her family has been wonderful, and she's very grateful and thankful for the support.
This time of crisis teaching an important life lesson to Lillian, who attends St. John's University, something she can't learn in a classroom.
Something that my mom has also taught me is that to not wait until into the future, to also, whatever I have now, I should give it out and, you know, share it with the others right now. Thank you.
Lily was born in Ridgewood and attended St. Matthias's Parish School. As for her future, she says she still plans on being right by her mom's side to continue their work. Volunteers in Brooklyn are also doing some great work feeding the hungry in their neighborhood. In fact, during the height of the pandemic, more than 60 parishioners at St. Thomas Aquinas in Flatlands joined in on the effort. The parish pantry opened in April of 2020 and became the first to have a drive-up option. From April to August alone, they served more than 69,000 families.
Some people had the money to pay the rent, but they didn't have the money to get food. And for us to be able to help them in such a way was really a great joy.
The pastor there, Father DWAYNE Davis, along with his volunteers, received a COVID-19 Hero Award from then Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. Now to a story more than 100 years in the making about a Queens woman who prays while she works and her work that helps others to pray. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has the story of Rosita and her rosaries.
There are 59 beads in a rosary.
6 of these for the Our Fathers.
Rosita Lewis knows the breakdown by heart. After all, she's made hundreds.
I don't need any book to tell me that. I know the rosary, and I just keep doing it from my brain. This is precious blood.
It started more than 30 years ago, soon after she joined St. Teresa of Avila Parish. But this isn't Rosita's hobby. She says it's her calling. She's never said no to God or anyone who's asked for one.
Whoever asks me for a rosary, or whoever I think may need one, just give it to them with joy. The space between...
Each bead glides down this string. Rosita says every decade of the rosary has helped keep her alive for so many decades. She just celebrated her 100th birthday.
I have no other recreation, so I believe it's the rosary.
The rosary has become the center of Rosita's faith. She prays it 4 times a day. Over the years, she's sent handmade rosaries to Haiti, Jamaica, and her native Trinidad, hoping they help people connect with their faith.
Make sure it is tight.
Rosita makes her rosaries extra strong. And with every uniform knot, her faith has become unbreakable.
I believe firmly in my God. Anything he says, never doubt it.
Some rosaries she can make in minutes. Others take hours.
You may not succeed with the first one, but keep trying.
It's easier said than done. In green.
Green, yeah.
Rosita takes it one section at a time, the same way she's lived her life, one day at a time.
Sometimes I feel a kind of numbness, but still I can make the rosaries. I said maybe that's my mystery.
Each bead makes Rosita's rosaries complete, and each rosary helping her complete her life's mission. In Jamaica, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
How wonderful. For decades, historians have been searching for a missing 17th century painting, but as it turns out, the masterpiece was hidden in plain sight, hanging inside a church in Westchester County. The painting, which depicts the Holy Family together with a very young St. John the Baptist, has been on display at Holy Family Church in New Rochelle for the past 60 years. It wasn't until last year that it was identified as a Baroque painting made by Italian artist Cesare Dandini. But despite its historical value, the church's pastor says it still holds a special meaning for the parish.
You know, it reminds us of what the purpose of the parish is. You know, John the Baptist prepared the way of the Lord, and that's what we try to do. And the Holy Family, that's what we want. We want our families to be holy.
Monsignor Dennis KEANE says the painting came into the church's possession after his predecessor bought it at a London art gallery back in the 1960s. He's unsure how much the painting could go for now. However, other Dandini paintings have sold for roughly $800,000. According to art historians, this painting was one of 4 surrounding the theme of charity. One is currently on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Another is in the Hermitage Museum in Russia. And the 4th is a part of a private collection in Manhattan. Also tonight, another ancient art alive in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
It is usually rocks ground up with egg yolks mixed with water. All 3 of these things are from God, natural.
These masterpieces made from rocks, eggs, and water. Currents News with more on the work of iconographers. Ayman Fayez of Cairo, Egypt, spent several months creating icons for the Resurrection Coptic Catholic Church in Park Slope, Brooklyn. His twin brother, Father Francis Fayez, is the pastor there. Since 2014, Ayman has been making trips back and forth from Egypt, each time writing a new icon. Currents News' Jessica Easthope got to see them up close.
There are artists that create images and leave them up to interpretation. For Ayman Fayez, there's not much room for that. The art he creates is quite literally the gospel, and his process starts long before he ever picks up a brush.
You have to read the Bible, understand the scripture, and think how this is going to be translated onto a canvas.
He's thousands of miles from home, but at Resurrection Coptic Catholic Church in Park Slope, he's among his people, a faithful Egyptian community. And most of all, he's with his brother. Father Francis Fayez, the church's pastor, and Ayman are twins. And for the last 9 years, Ayman has been making trips back and forth to the church, each time bringing or creating a new icon, making the brothers the perfect pair.
I do my homily, teaching from the gospel, sacrament, everything. I serve my church like that. And he can teach my church also from other way.
Recently, Ayman completed these panels above the altar, but Father Francis says his parish community wasn't always as enthusiastic about his brother's icons as they are now. They didn't understand that the pieces of art are depictions of the gospel and can be used in prayer and worship, just like the written word of the Bible.
The icons need open mind, and you can imagine, and you can listen.
Because the icons come straight from the gospel, you don't paint them. You write them. Ayman's been doing it since 1987. Some take up to 3 months to write, and he's written hundreds.
Icons are holy art that depict the Bible. The example I give is bread. We have the bread that we eat at meals, and then the bread of Christ that we have for the Eucharist. It is holy and has a different meaning.
And Ayman can't just use paint you buy from a store.
It is usually rocks ground up with egg yolks mixed with water. All 3 of these things are from God, natural.
With every brushstroke, Ayman feels he gets closer to God. And when he's in Brooklyn, he wants to bring all of his brother's parishioners with him. In Park Slope, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
There's a lot more news headed your way. She said she was afraid her father was going to die. How a young girl inspired her dad to make changes so he could live a healthy lifestyle again. Plus, he was a top breakdancer from the Lower East Side, suddenly stricken with a rare disease. How his faith helped him to achieve some amazing accomplishments.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
He did it, and I'm so proud of him.
She's his biggest cheerleader, and now this little girl's dad is thanking her for saving his life. She was scared her daddy was going to die, so she told him. And that's what set off a Brooklyn man's inspirational transformation. Whether he's working out himself or training his wife and daughter.
There we go. 1. Very good. 2.
You'll often catch Anthony Lally at the gym. The 44-year-old Brooklynite is a bodybuilding champ, but that wasn't always the case.
Since as far back as I can remember, I struggled with my weight.
This was Anthony just a few years ago. He was a real estate mogul and best-selling author at the top of his game when it came to everything but his weight.
Yes, absolutely. At my heaviest, I was 315 pounds. I started getting sleep apnea, chest pains.
So when his 2.5-year-old daughter at the time noticed Daddy was obese,
she said, "Daddy, you're fat. I don't want you to die." That was it. That was the moment that changed my life.
July 17th, 2018, this is my day too.
He got to work and documented his fitness journey.
Thursday, July 19th, July 28th, August 15th.
Anthony lost 140 pounds in 9 months, had surgery to remove loose skin around his middle, and entered his first bodybuilding competition the following year. His wife, Teresa, is his biggest supporter, fan, and student.
Excellent.
I just give him all the credit because he actually committed and did it. He took his life serious and he took his family serious.
And once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur, Anthony turned his own transformation into a business, Radical Body Transformations, helping others get fit and healthy.
It was bigger than just me. It was just, you know, maybe God used me as a tool, as an instrument to help other people.
And it's all thanks to his daughter, Love.
Well, me and my mom and my brother Legend inspired my dad to lose weight, and he did it, and I'm so proud of him.
She's so cute. Anthony says because of his daughter, he can now play with her and her brother without getting out of breath. He says he wants people to know his story, to know it's possible. If you'd like to learn more about Anthony's transformation and how he's helping others get fit and healthy, check out the Radical Body Transformations website at rbtshow.com. A group of Catholic school students danced with real purpose. The kids at St. Stanislaus Kostka Catholic Academy in Maspeth busted out their dance moves to raise money for their fellow classmate. 4-year-old Augie Vinti was recently diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer that can affect breathing, walking, balance, and swallowing. All the money raised from the Disney Dance-a-thon at St. Stan's will go to Augie's family to support medical expenses. We wish him luck, and we'll be praying for him and his family. You too can help pay for Augie Vinti's medical bills. Just search for his name on GoFundMe.com. We're taking it back right now to the early 2000s. Before 9/11, the Lower East Side was alive, practically throbbing with the beat of a bass like a party until dawn. One of the guys that was the life of it all, Eddie Ilaraza. If that was your scene, you might have seen him on the dance floor. Currents News' Michelle Powers has his story.
It's the year 2000, and Eddie Ilaraza is taking over New York City, one battle at a time. Known as the Playboy of John Dewey's class of '88, he's lived up to expectations while breaking them down. By night, he dances. By day, he's a drug counselor, sometimes casually using them himself. He moves through life at high speed. Until freeze.
It looked almost as if he was drunk.
Fast forward to 2002, and this breakdancer can barely lift a finger. Instead of music, this is the sound that fills his days. You can hear Eddie breathe, but not his voice.
Bunch of clubs, bars. I was ranked second best break dancer in the entire Brooklyn community. That is how good I was.
Eddie didn't forget his moves. He just never danced again. In 2002, he was diagnosed with ALS, a rare disease that causes the loss of muscle control. He's paralyzed from the neck down, but he's able to move his eyes and type with them, pointing his pupil toward specific letters on a keyboard.
I fell into depression, anxiety, and thought about dying every day and night nonstop. It was torture.
Doctors didn't think Eddie would be here. The average life expectancy, only 5 years.
Herman and Eddie, Playboys of '88.
But his friend, Judy Nat, says every day Eddie chooses life, and that's what keeps him going.
I just want to be with him to help him realize his full potential.
There's a list of things Eddie can't do, ones Judy helps him with. But there's a longer list of things he can do that most Americans never will. He's written 4 books and writes poetry. He composes music. He just completed his master's in social work, and he's just classes away from finishing his MBA. He even finished applying for his doctorate at USC.
Nothing is impossible when you believe.
Eddie wasn't always this positive. He used to think of suicide constantly. But the more his disease progresses, the more his faith increases. Eddie realized ALS could be a chance to make a difference in the world, and he has. Eddie has saved others contemplating suicide, texting them off the edge. And countless people have been inspired just by meeting him.
He is my brother from another mother.
Yep. My brother from another mother. Okay.
His nurse, Pascal, calls him the messenger.
His message is that no matter your situation in life, you can do better, you know.
Pascal tells me ALS isn't about getting weaker and waiting to die. For Eddie, it's about getting stronger.
It's like somebody who goes to the gym as scheduled 3 times a week or 4 times a week and never miss a day.
See, Eddie's frozen, but for a higher purpose, for you to realize your own potential.
If I can do it, why not you?
Amazing. That was Michelle Powers reporting. All 4 of Eddie's books are available online. You can find them by searching for his full name, Eliseo Iliraza, on Amazon. Still to come on Currents News, she wanted to show her appreciation for the NYPD. Next, the lengths a Queens woman is going to say thank you to each and every member of the force. A Queens woman is showing her appreciation for the NYPD in a big way. She's on a mission to give handwritten thank you cards to every single police officer in the department. And already, she's delivered more than 4,000. Jessica Easthope went to St. Albans and has her story.
Dear officer, thank you for your service in the NYPD.
All the letters read the same, but for Coretta James, every police officer's individual dedication deserves a thank you.
I saw the tough job that they have, and I just wanted to, encourage them to let them know that, that not everybody's against them.
Since 2017, James has been on a mission to handwrite a thank you card to every single officer in the NYPD. So far, she's delivered 4,000, and with every stroke of her pen, each officer that gets one knows there's someone out there rooting for them.
They put on that uniform to serve us. I don't take that for granted.
James, who came to the United States from Antigua at 16, never seals the envelopes. She adds in the name of every officer when she gets to a precinct, and she says the personal touch makes all the difference.
They tell me, I'm going to put this in my locker so I could always look at it. It's rewarding.
There wasn't one specific event that sparked her passion, but James says with recent racial tension across the country, police officers have become the target. More than 5,300 NYPD officers retired or resigned in 2020. That's up 75% from 2019. And though James acknowledges there are cops that don't always do the right thing, she's not letting that stop her. Another way in which James says the good far outweighs the bad, the responses she's gotten from the public, especially as a person of color. She's had people send her threats, even wishing her carpal tunnel.
If I could tick off that many people, I'm on the right side and I'm not changing sides.
James has a long way to go before all 36,000 NYPD officers get a thank you. She says her faith has allowed her to not just feel compassion toward these members of service, but to act on it. Each letter ends with words she believes with all her heart.
Grateful for your service, Coretta James. You are appreciated.
In St. Albans, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
And before we go, a well-earned congratulations to the Currents News team, which was nominated for 3 New York Emmys. It's the most nominations received in a single year for the nightly program. Those include, in the team coverage category, our in-depth special 9/11 20 years later. Also honored in the nostalgia news category, a feature story on the home of Louis and Lucille Armstrong in Queens. And finally, someone we know does top-notch work, our video editor, Glenn Perreira, was nominated for an amazing montage he created that artfully illustrates how the Catholic faith blends with New York City life. So congratulations to him and to all on our team, and good luck. Keeping my fingers crossed for a win. And that does it for this Currents News Good News special. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. I hope to see you again next time.